Welcome, everyone, to the Corona Cero post show. Well, you wanted action, you wanted excitement, you wanted drama, you wanted upsets. Guess what? We delivered. Day 2 was awesome, and no one is more fired up than Al Cleland Jr., who just knocked out one of the best to ever do it here at Punta Roca, taking out event favorite Griffin Colapinto. The fans are going wild, and why wouldn't you? That was a fun heat to watch. A little bit of everything thrown at us today, including a near tropical hurricane this morning that somehow transformed into a beautiful day of surfing. I'm Chris Cote, Strider Wasilewski, Tanner Gadauskas. Once again, you got the Goof Troop, and cheers
boys,
to a great day of surfing. That was super fun. And again, the upsets, the shocking defeats. You know, looking back at that last heat, there were some super fun waves coming in, but it was by no means easy. Things ended pretty strangely at the end of the day there.
Yeah, you know what? You got to stay on your board if you want to win a heat. And Griff did not do that in that heat. So hats off to Cleland. I mean, the Mexican coming through, he's a crowd favorite. He's a man of the people, and I love to see him. I'd love to see you get on a roll for this event.
Brute force right there. I mean, he was not taking no for an answer. Really cool looking style, and he's just one of those surfers that the people's favorite, the people's champion. I mean, it's hard not to cheer for Al Cleland Jr., but you know, Griffin Colapinto, he's in the same boat. Very well liked, and at any second, Griffin could have unleashed and flipped this heat.
Well, we always knew it was Griffin's pet event here. He loves El Salvador, so Al really had to stay on bolts and make it happen today, which he did. He surfed phenomenal. It was tricky, Strider, like you said. Really challenging conditions to stay on your board, and he just timed it so perfectly for what was on offer. And at the end of the day, he came up with the higher scores in the heats.
Yeah, the board under his feet looked amazing, and I believe it's a DHD. And the way that he, you know, like you said, pushed through the bump, and I think he was on the second wave of the set because the face of his waves looked smoother than the ones that Griffin was on. So I feel like that was to his benefit. But, you know, stomping, just fundamentally staying over the board was what won the heat for him. You know, Griffin looked spicy when he was on the face and doing some work. This was his best wave. And on the inside here, he got some travel time and finished really, really well. You know, he did the drop wallet and everything, stayed over his board through the conversion of the whitewater right there. But after that, you know, he was falling, and you can't make mistakes like that. You cannot have waves where you need like a 5 or a 6 and you know, you get 2 or 3 turns in and then you fall. It just does not look good.
I was pretty surprised by some of those falls from Griff. I mean, he's such an incredible surfer, still an absolute title threat. I mean, he's got a long run all the way to go till Pipeline, so don't you worry about Griffin Colapinto just yet, but give it up to Al Cleland Jr. I feel like Al just needed that one breakthrough win. I mean, even if it's just that heat that he makes it through, that's going to be super meaningful for his campaign going into the rest of the season. So we're stoked for Al Cleland Jr., and anytime we get to talk to him, it's even better. So let's go down the glass. We got Jesse standing by with Al Cleland Jr.
Alan, first heat win of the year. It was needed, and it feels really fitting to be here in El Salvador.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I've been having a pretty stressful start of the year. I haven't been able to not even get, you know, a higher score than a 6. So it just felt good to get a couple waves and surf, and, you know, being down here with all my friends and all the local people, I just feel at home. So it's no better place to make a heat, and, you know, having the crowd here supporting me, yeah, I'm super stoked.
I know it sounds silly, like just to make a heat, but obviously with the start of the year, like it's almost like you're running at a wall and you can't break it down. Is this kind of like a, finally, like, okay, it's happening again?
Yeah, I mean, this new format is like a bloodbath every heat, you know. You travel across the world, and, you know, you lose first heat and then you got to go to the next one, and it's just kind of a mental game where you have to come back stronger every time, but it's pretty hard to bounce back. But, you know, winning a heat is, like, you know, a big goal of mine, so I'm stoked to, you know, accomplish one of those goals and hopefully keep moving forward.
And you've had a pretty crazy lead up to the event. You've been working really hard, did a big stint with Julian Lassa, now here with Snake, so bouncing off 2 incredible coaches here as well.
Yeah, you know, I did a camp down here for the past 2 weeks before the event with Julian Lassa, his son, Kauli, and, you know, it worked out. We did a bunch of mock heats, we're training every day and, you know, doing all the good stuff in the heat. And, yeah, now being with Snake here, yeah, I'm just super happy to have a good crew behind me and good friends. And, you know, having my dad and all my friends here is, you know, pretty sick, so I'm stoked. And I think there's going to be plenty of waves all this event, so I'm psyched.
Now some words in Spanish for everyone here and back home.
Hace tiempo que no hacía esto, pero un saludo a todos. Pasamos un hit por primera vez en el año y sí, súper feliz. Saludos allá a Boca de Pascuales, a todos mis amigos en México, todos los que me apoyan, todos mis patrocinadores y vamos por una más. ¡Ánimo! ¡Yu!
Let's go, Al. Thanks, guys.
Vamos, Alan Cleland Jr. You can feel the stoke and the
It just
energy.
makes you feel so good.
It really was a needed victory, and to take out an event favorite, extra special for Alan Cleland Jr. And now I feel like the sky's the limit. When you can beat the best of the best, and then you're looking down the line, you're thinking, well, if I can beat Griff, I can beat anybody.
Oh yeah, you take that kind of energy and you steamroll it into the rest of these events. And I think for Al, you could feel that sense of elation in that interview. He's just ready to go.
Yeah.
Cat's out of the bag, so let's let it rip.
And for me, I mean, I was like licking my chops because my fantasy team, he was my power surfer. You know, Griffin was.
Jeez, you just reminded me who was mine
And
too.
the Mammoth Surf Nerds, the league I'm in back home, all of their guys looked like they were falling off. I thought, oh, I'm going to take the lead. And then, boom, my guy loses, and then it puts me just in the back seat again. And I'm just going, but now, hey, I'm cheering for Big Al. Let's go.
Well, the fantasy
So
chads are laughing at me too. My league is a mess. It's a
Destruction of
disaster.
everybody's league.
But it's all good because you know what? You love the underdog story, and it feels like this event in particular has become just that. And I'm talking about this heat right here. Kauli Vaast going up against Filipe Toledo. So, I mean, I want to say that Toledo and Griff are probably on 99% of everybody's fantasy teams, but Kauli Vaast could give a heck. He went out there, his backhand proved to be the power, just weaponizing each and every turn down the line, picked the best waves, and brute strength takes out Filipe Toledo.
This is unbelievable backhand serving. It's electrifying. His extension in every turn, and then to be able to pivot in some of those heavy pockets. He knew he was going to be having to come off the fence because Filipe has been on fire, and he had great waves in that heat. So
there is an argument here. I mean, Toledo was surfing really well, I thought, and he was ripping into it. So this heat to me was a lot closer than it was even on paper. I mean, but in the end, this young man was destroying the lift.
it was this turn right here, Strider, where he got the 5.7. He kept that as his backup score, and that ultimately came into the play to get him over the top of Filipe.
And I think he was in the same boat as Al Cleland Jr., just needing that one breakthrough victory. So for both of those guys to take out event favorites, just a little added juice, added gas in the tank to go out there and potentially set fire to the rest of the field. Don't take your eyes off Kauli Vaast and Al Cleland Jr. for the rest of this event. And the waves, they hung out with us throughout the day. It was one of those things where it was almost like every heat had a different storyline throughout the entirety of the day. No goofy versus regular kind of, I would say, storylines though, because the advantage I think was taken away. It became about wave selection, and it became about making your waves all the way through. We saw a lot of falls at the end of the waves that could have been that difference, 1 or 2 point difference to get that surf for the edge.
I think completion and
Yeah.
really having all of it put together, the whole pie. You know what I mean? You really got to make the whole wave look good. You got to go through your motions. You got to be up into that critical part of the wave and destroying each section and come away with a finish.
For sure.
To look at the beach, to look at the judges for the reassurance or the score.
In this event, I do feel like we've had some expectations versus reality. You're here at Punta Roca. It's one of the highest performing right-hand point breaks in the world, yet these rides are challenging. Like you're saying, they're bumpy. They get a little disjointed mid-ride, and guys have had to adjust, and I think it can throw people off their line a little bit. So we've seen it come down to falling versus making rides is the difference that can make these heats.
And we've seen some of the big dogs taken out, but don't worry, surf fans. Plenty of superstars left and plenty of storylines to develop. Here is the remainder of men's round 3. Liam O'Brien versus Callum Robson. Eli Hanneman, he's on a tear. He's going up against Kanoa Igarashi. Marco Mignot will be going up against Iago Dora. Samuel Pupo versus Leonardo Fioravanti. Italo Ferreira versus Crosby Colapinto. Kauli Vaast versus Jaccianca. Gabriel Medina versus Jack Robinson. Look at Heat 7. That is radical. Heat 8, Baron Mamiya versus Al Cleland. What I'm liking here, of course you've got a lot of Brazilian flags, but you do have a mix-up here. We've got France in the mix, Team USA, Hawaii represented, Australia with some friendly fire there in Heat 1. Of all these heats coming up in round 3, Strider, which one are you most looking forward to seeing?
You know, it's I would have to say it's that Heat Well, maybe Heat 3.
It's
I was going to go
all
7.
of them?
I was going to go 5, but now I'm going to go back to 3. I mean, Marco McNutt and you know, Yago, like that's some fiery competitors right there. And on the backhand and the forehand mix up, watching those guys go back and forth, I feel like there's going to be some, you know, Marco is one of those never give up surfers.
Yeah.
And we know what Yago's capable of. So it's really going to be fun to see the scrappy kind of fight between the two.
Tanner, what do you got?
So I think at this point in the game, the level is so high in all of these heats. The surfers are really bringing it at this event. I think it's more about the pairing. And I think Samuel Pupo versus Leo Fioravanti is insane. Leo is guttural with his power surfing today, and Sam has an interesting whip. So the dynamic of that going against each other, I think, should be really fun to watch.
I'm on the Medina train. I mean, the fact that he got through that first heat in second gear, he is just going to be revving all the way through. So many rad matchups, a really unique, eclectic group of round 3 surfers as well. So what do we expect looking forward? One thing we know about El Salvador, it's always holding. There's always waves somewhere. And this is what we're looking at for the Surfline forecast. Love those purple blobs. Love to see everything moving right towards where we are. Punta Roca, El Salvador. Strider, you know a lot about the energy of the ocean. You said pathymetry earlier on. That was an impressive word. What are you saying here?
Well, we are going to get flexed on by a lot of surf. We've got massive surf on the way. We're just going to be kind of facing off with the winds. So basically, it's all about conditions, right? And you never know here in Central America, you can have a forecast of wind being onshore and wake up. And like the wind today was forecasted to be pretty strong this afternoon out of the east. And it was actually awesome pretty much all day. So I feel like my fingers are crossed that this system's going to move in with it, the storm, as well with the swell. And then hopefully the wind backs up and we get some epic conditions out of it with size.
I've heard from a lot of the locals, this is a really tough place to forecast and very unpredictable.
Well, that's what I was going to say. How crazy is it thinking about what's behind us right now, what we watched all day versus what we rolled up on this morning in the dark. It felt like hurricane-esque wind in your face. There was like, there's no way it's running today. Give it 30 minutes. It felt a little better than a lot of rain, and then it got glassy. So it shows that unpredictability that you do deal with down here in these areas.
I stopped drinking coffee because I thought I was going back to bed. That's how bad it was. Well, the women's rounds were not seen today, but that just means we're pulling back the bow and we're going to shoot them straight out of the water for women's round 2. Another incredible matchup right here, all the way through from Heat 1 to Heat 8. Gabrielle O'Brien versus Yo-Yo Hopkins. Sawblade Lindblad's going to be going up. Not Lelior, a great goofy foot matchup there. Luana Silva, I would say the most improved surfer on the Women's Championship Tour, going up against Nadia Aristarbe. Carissa Moore, Brisa Hennessy, that is going to be a power matchup. Picklum versus Fitzgibbons right there in Heat 5. Betty Lou Sakura Johnson, Caroline Marks, Lakey Peterson v. Tyler Wright. Caitlin Simmers versus Bella Kenworthy. So a similar story here. You know, you've got matchups that we've seen many times in the past, but also some brand new matchups that we're really excited to see. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Tanner, first. Which one are you looking at here as your highlight heat of the day?
Well, even if it's just not brand new matchups, we have some brand new energy. It looked like Caroline Marks came to life. I know at this point in the year, she's looking to flip the switch, and she did in her last heat. So her against Betty Lou is going to be phenomenal. And then, of course, seeing Sawyer Lindblad versus Anat will be really great. It'll be matching up a similar style, which is big, powerful backhand moves. So great heats.
I want to see if Luana Silva can handle Nadia.
That's going to be phenomenal.
That's going to be because those backhand slams that she's been doing, she has been putting up excellent. I mean, the turns she does in those critical sections and just blows the tail out.
Yeah.
You know, it's unexpected to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, every time I see it. And then, you know, Luana's just been so smooth and so critical that, you know, she's probably the most improved surfer to me on tour.
No doubt.
She looks like a world title contender. So,
Totally.
you know, there's the X factor from the backhand, and then that smoothed out, you know, progression that we've seen from Luana is going to be fun.
Well, the mighty have fallen on the men's side as well as the women's side. We did lose Stephanie Gilmore, which I know everybody was really excited to see. But never fear, style is alive and well, because Katie Simmers will most likely be surfing tomorrow if we are on. We're going to have to wait and see. But one thing about the WSL is we love to give back to wherever we are. We want to improve the future of surfing for everyone. So let's take a look at what went down with the rising tides here in El Salvador.
We are at the 5th stop of WSL Rising Tides in our kind of expanded program, which is so cool. We're in El Salvador. We've got the top girls and boys in the Federation in El Salvador who are already competing. They're in the ISAs, World Juniors. They get to meet their heroes, and hopefully we see the next pro on tour in a couple years.
I'm excited to meet them because they're like the people that I admire. I want to be like them one day.
We got Caitlin Simmers, we have Steph Gilmore, Brian Perez, Alan Cleland, Luke Thompson, and we've got Nadia Arosarbe.
It's amazing to give them a little bit of our knowledge and of our time so they can dream about it and hopefully someday be here with us.
So excited to see so many young girls still involved in surfing, and the numbers of women in the surf around here in El Salvador is growing rapidly.
Every year it's been growing more girls, and I'm so happy to help them, and it's amazing that we can do it now that we are so safe in this country, you know.
¿Qué consejo le daría a ti misma hace 10 años atrás?
Enjoy it, be passionate, and be grateful.
Erin Brooks has done something that's absolutely incredible. She has donated a Lost surfboard at every single stop on tour this year in partnership with Lost Surfboards. The kid not only gets a board, but a custom surfboard to their dimensions. So we're really excited to give a girl here that board and kind of give her that next step into her career.
I feel so excited for this obsequio for Erin Brooks. She's one of my favorite surfers.
The goal is that every single one of these stops is to have the next World Tour surfer in our event. We want to see an El Salvador Rookie of the Year, an El Salvador surfer on tour forever. I mean, we hope to make that impact at every single stop, and yeah, we'll see her on tour soon.
Rising Tides!
That gets me every time. How cool is that for these up-and-coming young locals to literally be within the presence of such an incredible ambassadors to surfing, giving back, and just making the future of surfing in here in El Salvador just that much better. So with that, it's time for everybody's favorite part, the Corona Cero post show. That's right, our top 5 moments. We're gonna go back to in a heat that had us fired up. Mateus and Leo going blow for blow. This was straight up power v progression. And this put both of these surfers a little bit higher on my list of favorites. But I want to say the alley-oop was huge, but Leo's rail game just got me. It was just like hit me right in the heart, right where it matters.
It's really fun to watch. I mean, the fact that he was just pushing as hard as he was and coming, you know, with precision was really nice. I mean, Mateus showed up in a big way and showed us what he had, but this kind of surfing right here never gets old, Tanner.
It's the speed that he carries in and out of every one of these turns. It's incredible. It almost looked like a toe-at carve in the beginning of this wave, and it's precise, like you said, Chris. He does not miss a beat every single wave.
Super fun to watch. I mean, you could tell how much it meant to Leonardo Fioravanti. Then we move on to a wild heat. Jack bounces back, and he bounced through a couple boards. I haven't seen this in I don't know how long. 2 broken boards in one heat. We saw that big AI tribute air, gave us the feels right there, but this one was real back and forth, super stressful for everybody involved.
You know, and really just, you know, that wave became his best wave of the heat right there, I believe, and it was right off the bat, you know, and to start like that strong really feels good.
Sometimes thinking outside of the box. For a while, we were watching his wave thinking he was just making his way to the ski, all the while he launched on an inside section that got him his highest score of this heat, and he backed it up with that ride, which was just clutch, really well surfed.
Yeah, I mean, dealing with adversity too, and give it up to the board caddy, young local homie out there putting in the work for Jack Robinson. And there's Jack with the fans, and again, we have a ton of fans on the beach, and they are going wild for their surfers, and they went wild for this guy right here. Monstro is back. Gabriel Medina continuing on with the momentum that he's developed throughout this season. He has been so fun to watch. I mean, you can hear these turns. These turns are absolute hammers. Gabriel Medina is having a great time.
I feel like he's an event winner. The way that he's walking around, the way he's surfing, the comfort level he's in right now, and, you know, the attack and the board positioning on the wave is so perfect. The Cabianca is just looking so money.
I loved it. There was a lot of great heats through the day for sure today.
And here's another one of them. So Italo, he had 9 stitches in his knee. So he was dealing with adversity as well. It didn't look like it hindered him one bit. Just the full-on Red Bull assault all the way through. I mean, he's the type of surfer that goes for it by any means necessary. He will throw himself face first onto the rocks if it means he gets through this heat.
He said, I went and caught up with him after this heat, and he said that his knee was so painful when he woke up in the morning, and he got down to the contest site and he just switched into warrior mode. He said he just had to turn off all of his senses and just go do his job.
He gave a really emotional post-heat interview too. You could feel it was pent up inside of him, and that kind of energy is going to be crazy to see come fold later in the event.
Well, this is another clutch performance. Everybody thought Filipe Toledo was at least going to the semis. Well, guess what? Kauli Vaast was on the other side of the draw against Filipe Toledo, and he went off. I mean, he's coming off of probably one of the gnarliest swells we've seen at his home break of Chopo in like decades. He was paddling into some of the biggest waves ever surfed there, and then he goes ahead and puts in comp mode and takes out the event favorite.
Well, his stress levels, he said, were so high during the Chopu stuff that he got here and like he didn't care who he was up against. It was like everything was a walk in the park.
Wow. You survive Chopo, you can just survive anything.
And he did say he almost died.
Wow, incredible, incredible stuff there. Well, what a day of surfing that was. And we're going to be right back here tomorrow morning for a 7 a.m. call. Cheers, guys. That was super fun.
Yeah, boys.
Thank
There
you
you
guys.
go.
That was
and
rad.
for the
Good
rest
day.
of you, hopefully
was
you're inspired. Go out there. Go surfing. Wherever you're at in the
shred.
world. Let's do it.
We're gonna.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.